I'm not the bad guy for backing out of paying for my sister's wedding dress over a joke she made. I had an incident on my wedding day back in 2017 where my former fiance abandoned me and ran away with his pregnant mistress. That image, those details are forever engraved in my mind, and I will never forget how I felt that day. This was truly a turning point in my life. My family have always been there for me, so I keep close to them. My younger sister is currently engaged, and her wedding will be in few months. She's struggling with money, so I decided to help her and her fiance and pay the wedding dress. Buy her dream wedding gown that cost $7,000. It's a lot for a dress, but she literally cried because she wanted it. This happened a few days before we agreed to go buy a new dress. We were eating dinner at my parents' house, and my cousin and aunt were there. My aunt was asking my sister about the wedding, and my sister said that everything was going according to plan, and then casually laughed and said, "Let's just hope he won't run away with a pregnant mistress or something in our wedding day." I was blown away completely. She laughed, and Aunt laughed too, as if this was a joke. She was basically mocking what happened with me in my wedding. It happened so fast. I got up and started screaming at her, calling her an idiot, but my parents asked me to take it easy, and she said it was a joke, and she didn't think I would react so intensely. My aunt remained sitting, and my cousin asked me to calm down and drink some water, but I grabbed my stuff, and as I was getting ready, I told my sister she was getting $0 for her dream wedding dress, and then walk out. I heard loud commotions as I walked, and my dad and cousin followed me outside trying to talk, but asked to be left alone. Me and dad spoke to say I was too harsh on my sister over a joke, and said that I know this is how she is, with her dark sense of humor. They said she's been crying after I decided to back out of helping her, and saying that's ruined her wedding. They want me to reconsider my decision since it might damage my relationship with my sister, but I refused. So did I overreact it? And also some kind of info here. It's my aunt that will usually bring up what happened from time to time and say stuff like, if what happened didn't happen you, will you have had at least 2 kids now? Or do you know what day it is? Your wedding anniversary. It's harsh, but she stopped doing it anymore. Maybe my sister is being influenced by her, but still, it hurts the same, and more coming from my own sister. So, what do you think? Am I the bad guy for exposing my future sister-in-law for bullying me in high school at the family event? In high school, I used to be friends with this girl, Annika. We were close until junior year. When I discovered she had been spreading false rumors about me. However, even after I stopped being friends with her, she continued to make up lies about me and made my life hell right up until we graduated. We went to different universities, and I'm in my mid-20s now. My older brother, Carter, went to the same university as Annika. Recently, he announced that he had gotten engaged to his girlfriend. Our family was happy for him, but we were surprised at the same time since we didn't know he was dating anyone. He said he would introduce her at an upcoming family party. The party rolled around, and guess who walked in the door with Carter? Yeah, Annika. I honestly thought I was hallucinating, and I felt sick seeing her again. Carter left Annika with some relatives, then came over to me and asked to talk. We went to another room, and Carter explained he would met Annika at the party and didn't recognize her. But it was love at the first sight. But after he found out her full name, he realized it was the same Annika who spread lies about me. He confronted her and she claimed to not remember me or anything she did. He let it go because he really liked her. He then pleaded with me to be nice to her since she didn't remember what she had done and that she was a good person. I just told him I needed a moment to myself to process everything. When I eventually went back to the party, I decided I would ignore her. I didn't say anything rude. I just didn't talk to her or acknowledge her. She didn't talk to me or acknowledge me either. But when we sat down to eat, all hell broke loose. One of my aunts asked me how I felt about my brother getting married. I tried changing the subject, but she kept pressing. So I eventually snapped and said something like, I actually don't feel great about it, considering his future wife bullied me and never apologized. Everyone turned to look to Annika. She just started crying and ran out of the room. Carter went after her and they left early. The rest of the night was chaotic because everyone was asking me what happened. I told them. Later, Carter called me and said I was a horrible person for embarrassing Annika in front of the whole family, and I was being petty over high school drama. He demanded I apologize to her. I refused it and said he was the awful one for blindsiding me with this, and that if she never bothers to reach out and apologize for what she did while they were dating, I wasn't going to let it go now that they were engaged. He kept insisting that she didn't remember and she can't apologize for something she doesn't remember, but I think that's bullshit. I ended up hanging up on him. The way I see it, I was asking a direct question and provided a direct answer. Also, I don't think I have any obligation to cover for her when she made my life hell, especially when she's obviously lying about not remembering. So, I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not the bad guy for leaving the engagement dinner due to my fiancé's obsession with the dog. I proposed recently to my girlfriend. We are planning the wedding to happen next year. My fiancé has a 5-year-old golden retriever mix. I had a few bad experiences with dogs as a kid. Her dog is very friendly and he gets all the attention from my fiancé. She denied some jobs that won't let her work from home, as she's worried about the dog. I work from home 3 days a week, and she only texts asking how the dog is. I planned this very nice trip last weekend to celebrate our engagement. I booked a nice hotel and made reservation at a nice restaurant. One of our close friends stayed with the dog. My fiancé asked her to text with an update every 2 hours. I did my best to make it a wonderful weekend. We had reservation for 7 p.m. at the restaurant. My fiancé didn't get ready until 6:40 as she hadn't heard from the sitter. When we arrived at the restaurant, we had to wait 30 minutes for a table to open. When we sat down, my fiancé spent the entire dinner on her phone trying to get a hold of the friend. I paid for the meal and got up from the table telling her that I was going to wait in the car. She came out 20 minutes later screaming at me for leaving her at the table alone. I yelled back that she ruined our engagement trip for putting the dog over us. We sat in the silence all the way home, and she's thinking about going to stay with her parents. I'm not being called a bad guy for leaving from the restaurant. What do you think? I'm not the bad guy for calling my fiancé selfish for wanting to announce her pregnancy at her cousin's wedding. My fiancé and I just found out that we are pregnant. My fiancé mentioned that she wanted to wait to announce at her cousin's wedding, which will take place on the Sunday. Her cousin and her husband has been struggling getting pregnant even with IVF or the tons of others. Recently, they just got the same news that their insurance has stopped funding IVF, and not to mention the heartbreak of recent miscarriage of Mother's Day. They almost understandably held off of the wedding. So when my fiancé brought it up to me, I told her it's not at all a good idea. This just seemed so wrong, especially it being at their wedding. I asked if she was gonna at least ask her cousin for permission, and she said no, because she wanted it to be a surprise for everyone. I told her it's not the time nor the place for that, and it will take the spotlight off the couple. In her family, there hasn't been a baby in 3 years, so we'll be the first in that time. Fiancé feels that it's the perfect time because it's such a joy, and it's not like she can keep it away forever, and their problem shouldn't keep her from telling something so positive, so it's on them if they turn it negative. I tell her that's not the point. She knows what they've been through, and she's being selfish if she actually goes through with that. She cried and claimed I wasn't being supportive, and it shouldn't be calling my pregnant fiancé selfish. She doesn't want me to come with her to the wedding anymore either, feeling as if I will kill the mood. She hasn't been talking to me either. So, about my fiancé and her cousin's relationship. My fiancé always saw competition in her cousin because her cousin will be better at something than her, like grades, dancing, cosmetics, and etc., since they were kids, and she hates that. Last year, they had an argument about it because fiancé felt her cuz bragged too much, whereas my fiancé also mentioned there was one thing her cuz wasn't that good, but never said what it was. So in shorter terms, the relationship isn't between good and bad, but her cuz wanted to invite her to the wedding. I'm guessing to rekindle that. I'm at the bad guy for not wanting a stranger at my wedding. A couple of months ago, my brother told me he had been dating a guy and wanted to bring him as guest to my wedding. My wedding is a very small and intimate one, with only family and close friends of myself and my fiancé invited. Asked who this guy was, and he wasn't anyone I've ever met before. My fiancé and I had taken care to only invite the people we are closest to, and I really didn't want someone I've never ever met before there. My brother wasn't happy. He said it was the perfect opportunity to introduce his new boyfriend to the family. I said my wedding isn't for that, it's for celebrating my marriage. To compromise, I suggested he plan a family dinner and bring his boyfriend to that. Once the dinner was over, have met the boyfriend, so I would probably feel more comfortable going to the wedding. My brother agreed. I followed up with him a week later asking what the dinner was, and he asked me to schedule it. I said I was in the middle of planning a wedding, and I felt he needed to schedule it. I followed up later, and he said he wasn't sure what day will work. He never brought it up after that, and neither did I, because I was so busy. My wedding is next week, and my brother still wants to bring his boyfriend, but I said no. I didn't want a stranger at my wedding. At this point, it is too late to schedule dinner, because the next week is booked with wedding activities, and there is no day I will have time to drive 2 hours to where the rest of the family is. He says I'm being a dick not to let him bring his boyfriend to a wedding. So what do you think? Am I the bad guy for not attending my graduation party and telling everyone why when they ask? My family has not celebrating anything to do with me since I was 12 years old. My dad and his new wife had a baby that year, and I was kind of forgotten about. I will get birthday presents and such, but no party or anything. I got used to it and started a tradition of celebrating with my friends. We will go see movies or whatever. One of my friend's mom found out and started making me a cake every year for my birthday. When I graduated from high school, I have saved up enough money to go on a week-long vacation in New York City, which my best friend and her mom to see hates down. I just finished university and I'm starting my new job right away. I guess my dad had planned a big party for me as a surprise, but I didn't show up because I went out with my friends instead. When my family started asking me why I didn't show up after my father had gone through all the effort for me, I explained that he didn't celebrate anything of mine in 10 years. And I didn't know he had planned to do so this time. He told everyone I was lying, so I asked him to post any pictures he had from my birthday parties, extracurricular activities, or high school graduation. He obviously couldn't, and everyone started shitting on him. Now he's mad for talking about private family matters. I'm just going to go over there and pick up the few things I have left in the house and just move to my new city without dealing with this anymore. So, am I the bad guy here?